What's up, Taiwan? I'm Erika Liu with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Taiwan's defense ministry has recognized that the military is having problems attracting and maintaining personnel. Reese Ayers has more on what they plan to do about it.
Taiwan's defense ministry has announced an action plan to tackle the country's military personnel crisis. Recent reports show a steep increase in the number of officers choosing to leave service early, quadrupling in the last 4 years, from around 400 in 2020 to almost 1,600 last year. And that's not all. The total number of volunteers and military personnel, currently around 166,000, has also dropped over 3% in the last year alone, a trend that looks set to continue. The Defense Ministry is saying that there's more competition for young talent these days, and people are generally just less interested in military careers, and have outlined an action plan. They want to reduce the number of people leaving military service, increase retainment figures, meaning keeping more personnel on for longer, and improving recruitment efforts. I spoke to a security analyst earlier about what he thinks Taiwan might do to try and address ththese retainment and recruitment issues.
因为这些volunteer force 他们可能时间比较长，不像是警察或是 firefighter 甚至 Coast Guard 他们可以有比较多的这个休假 vacation， 所以在薪水上面可能要比较符合公平原则。而我想除了物质就是薪水之外，要给这些人有一个尊严跟他的那个专业感。那在 morale 上面士气上面是非常重要的。那这一点我想就是可以跟美国或其他国家学习这一块重要的文化。
How do recruitment issues actually impact Taiwan's military?
那如果 manpower 比较低的话，当然会让这个 firepower 也就降低了，而且会变成一个不好的一个 circle， 一个negative 的 circle， 也就是人不够，那剩下的这些personnel 他的 burden 又更多了，又会让他想要离开。
Of course, the dangers of having an understaffed military are obvious. Taiwan is still waiting on huge orders of military equipment from the US, but without the muscle to operate that equipment, Taiwan will be left vulnerable. The country's firepower and ability to defend itself naturally impacted. Ryan Wu, Scott Huang and Reese Ayers in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan says China is trying to recruit Taiwanese spies to carry out armed insurrection and form sniper teams in the event of a Chinese invasion. The claims come from a report published by Taiwan's National Security Bureau. Louise Watt reports.
Taiwan's national security authorities are giving some indication of the extent of the challenge that Taiwan's up against when it comes to Chinese espionage. A new report contains figures showing the numbers of prosecutions jumping in recent years, from 16 in 2021 to 64 in 2024. Of the 64, 28 involved serving members of the military and 15 former members of the military. Other targets for China's spying recruitment, according to Taiwan, are government agencies and local temples, religious groups and criminal gangs. One of the more notable parts of the new report is about what China would try to get its spy networks to do if it invaded Taiwan. The National Security Bureau says that gangs recruited as spies were asked to raise Chinese flags and carry out armed insurrection, and that China is instructing recruits to form sniper teams to plan sniper missions against military facilities and foreign institutions in Taiwan. To counter all this, the National Security Bureau says it's cooperating more closely with military and investigative agencies. Fu Huaheng, Justin Wu and Louise Watt in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
China conducted nearly $6 trillion in overall trade last year, marking a record high for the world's second largest economy.
根据世界贸易组织公布的最新的数据截至到去年的前3季度，我国进口增速高于全球1个百分点，预计全年继续保持第2大进口国的地位。
Customs officials reported total imports and exports have grown 5% year on year, and that Beijing's so-called circle of friends in foreign trade continues to expand. Exports were a main driver of China's growth, particularly in electric vehicles, batteries, and solar panels. China's economy has been struggling to bounce back from a property market crisis, weak consumption, and rising government debt. China's latest figures are also the last batch of trade data before U.S. President-elect Donald Trump takes office. He's pledged to slap sweeping tariffs on trade partners, including China, a move economists have warned could harm global trade. For more, Joyce Zeng spoke to Asia-Pacific economist Alicia Garcia-Herrero.
China has posted record-high trade figures, but this comes at a time of a weakening yuan or RMB. How are you making sense of the state of China's economy?
Well, it is a record, but especially for exports. Imports have barely grown. The reason is quite simple. The RMB is weak, and because it's weak, imports are too expensive, and exports are being supported by the exchange rate. So that's what we have. Of course, this also means that Trump is watching, and he's going to come and see all of these numbers with a big trade surplus for China, and he's not going to like it. So I don't know. They're good numbers for China, but how long can they last is really the key question.
What position does this leave China in with just days until Donald Trump becomes the U.S. president?
Well, frankly speaking, there's two things making it hard for China at the current juncture. One is Trump. I mean, you don't want to have strong exports right before inauguration. Trump is going to watch for economies, and by the way, Taiwan is another one, with big trade surpluses. So you don't want to be on the spotlight at that juncture. But the other one, and that is unrelated to Trump, at least so far, it's the very, very strong U.S. economy. Investors want to jump to the dollar. So for the RMB, this is a problem. So it is not only Trump, it's about this very strong economy in the U.S., to be very frank. And that means the Fed will not cut. That means why not just put your money, if it's not already there, in dollar rather than keep it in RMB. It's pretty hard for any currency in which is not the dollar, to be frank.
That was Alicia Garcia-Herrero, chief economist at Natixis on China's economy. Crowds of beginners joined a two-day Jiu-Jitsu tournament in Taipei over the weekend, evidencing the growing popularity of the sport in Taiwan. Among them was a local influencer known for his rough approach, trying his hand at the gentle art. Bryn Thomas was there.
At an annual Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournament in Taipei, crowds of white belts stepped onto the mats for the first time, risking their necks and their joints in a full-contact grappling sport that's rapidly growing in popularity here in Taiwan. Among the beginners was Holger Chen, a controversial but massively popular local influencer who goes by the handle Guanzhang, the gym boss.
我已经45岁，但是我今天报的是成年组，是年轻人，20几岁的。我是要试着跟全台湾人说，其实，柔术这个东西很好，希望大家都可以来参加这样子。
The tourney, Chen's first in Taiwan, adds to his growing martial arts background and is another step in his eventful life story. Chen hails from a low-income, single-parent family. Before turning his hand to martial arts, he was a member of the Marines and also a one-time gangster. His appearance leads to frequent comparisons with U.S. podcaster Joe Rogan, and he's about as controversial, never afraid to offer his opinion.
所以我是觉得说，台湾真的要加油。台湾不是没有钱，台湾就是要培养军人，给军人很好的待遇。再来是我们的武器也要跟上。再来是台湾人本身也要过得好啦。如果台湾人连生活都有问题，他们也没有能力，他们管他谁统治他。
While Chen is a big celebrity, at this tournament he's just another competitor. And most of the weekend's tournament attendees weren't there to discuss politics. They came to cut their teeth or support a loved one trying their hand at a new sport.
现在慢慢的，很多人已经开始知道这些运动，然后尤其是他们本身没有在做这个运动，但他知道，所以我觉得真的进步很多。
Many senior members of Taiwan's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu community say that while having influencers try the sport is a great way to attract new members, their effect will be short-lived if they don't commit to training long-term.
Influencers, people who have a little bit bigger name, doing something outside of Jiu-Jitsu, now Chinese Jiu-Jitsu recognizing it's one of the best self-defense sports, then getting into that helps spread the word as well. Yeah. So if these people who have a little bit of clout and popularity and are a little famous, as long as they stick with it, then that'll help to grow it. If they just come in for a little bit, it'll be a flash pan, everybody will die out.
Dimitri says the popularity of jiu-jitsu has grown exponentially since he arrived in Taiwan back in 2005. Back then, the only academy in the country was Taiwan Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which opened in 2003. Today, there's over 10 in Taipei alone. Now, with popular influences like Holger Chen joining in, the sport is gaining more exposure and introducing more people to the joys of grappling. Hank Xu and Bryn Thomas for TaiwanPlus.
An archaeological site in eastern Taiwan is giving people a glimpse into the country's prehistory. Spanning 30 hectares, the massive park dates back around 2,500 years. Billy Wu has the story.
From a railway dig to one of the most important discoveries in Asia, thousands of prehistorical slate coffins, along with pottery and stone artifacts, were uncovered in Taidong County, southeastern Taiwan in 1980. The site now features the largest archaeological park in the country, where people can come to learn about the Neolithic community they once called this place home.
有2000多具的石板棺，那来推测它当时的生存的人口是真的非常的多。那当时一定也是在台湾东部是一个繁大的一个文化。
Spread over 100 hectares, the Beinan Site Park is not only Taiwan's largest prehistorical human settlement. Its significance stretches across borders. It's a critical link to understanding the ancient cultural network in global archaeology. Decades of preservation efforts have led to the establishment of a 30-hectare archaeological park, ensuring relics are safeguarded for generations to come.
我们现在看到的这个月形石柱呢，是整个卑南遗址范围内地表唯一仅存的一根石柱。那在地表下，考古学家的研究发现呢，底下还是有相当多的陶器、玉器，还有石器的器物。
The artifacts unearthed from the site are considered invaluable cultural treasures of the country, offering a glimpse into the daily lives of its earliest people. One standout discovery is this bark cloth beater, a tool used to transform bark into clothing.
在这边这样敲敲敲敲敲。哦，你看每面都敲过之后啊，它可以整只被拉出来的。 就可以拉出来。哇，你人打完了。拉开了，太棒了。
The site also yielded stunning jade artifacts, including the iconic human-animal-shaped ornaments now designated as national treasures, and displayed at Taiwan's National Museum Prehistory. The museum and the park serving not only as windows to the past, but as a showcase celebrating Taiwan's rich prehistoric heritage, connecting the modern world to a culture that thrived here thousands of years ago. Chris Ma and Billy Wu for TaiwanPlus.
Farmers in eastern Taiwan have transformed a rice straw art festival into a safari park. Held annually during the fall-winter season, the event in Hualien County features art installations made by local farmers. This year's theme is African Savannah. Among the lifelike structures displayed are lions, buffaloes, and crocodiles, attracting tourists eager to take photos with the unique creations. Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, we take you to the Maha Kumbh Mela in India, the world's largest religious gathering. It's the first one to be held in 144 years and is expected to draw over 400 million devotees. I'm Erika Liu. Take care and see you next time.